You may have heard that divers searching the Pacific found a treasure worth billions of dollars. But is it the case, or are some others merely disseminating false information for personal gain? I know your confusion. Do not be confused. We will inform you of the truth. To learn the truth, watch the video to the end. So without more delay, let's begin. A study researcher off the shores of Colombia is patiently awaiting proof of a massive exploration. When the photos from an underwater camera over 2,000 feet beneath the Caribbean Sea's bottom eventually arrive, the crew can recognize their extraordinary find. Yes, the hollow gold ship equivalent of the Holy Grail, one that hasn't been seen in 300 years, lies underneath them. Don't be shocked when you hear that you have arrived at San Jose's final burial place. Divers searching the Pacific Ocean found the Air Act, which contained wealth worth billions of dollars. Yes, you heard correctly. However, a similar team of specialists from the Woods Hole, Oceanographic Academy, and maritime archaeology specialists had previously investigated the area and ended up empty-handed. After all, looking for centuries-old shipwrecks is complex. On that particular rare occasion, the deep sea had resisted, giving up its mysteries against the efforts of experts and cutting-edge technology. A further investigation was subsequently planned for November, and thankfully, the first one was somewhat more effective. However, investigators were only one of the people looking for this specific catastrophe. The story still needs to finish here, though. Man, there's so much more to learn. Over 30 years earlier, a different group thought it had been located in San Jose. This Spanish ship galleon had fallen in the 18th century and had taken valuable cargo with her. But the South American nation's administration had given it a less than enthusiastic reaction to its application to reclaim the location in 1981, and several years of judicial arguing came next. 2. Putting a stop to any additional study of the region. It would take years until anybody even came close to the crash, probably partly because of how closely guarded her location was. But you know, what is surprising? The galleon and her cargo of treasure were spotted for the first time in over 300 years after the Colombian government finally permitted a sponsored by the state study of the region's borders. During what is now referred to as the era of exploration, San Jose set sail for the first occasion. European nations traveled around the globe by ship from the beginning of the 15th century to the middle of the 1800s, motivated by the search for new commercial partners. Nations like Portugal, Britain, and France used waterways to expand the world. Spain, yet, is said to have started with the most efficiency. After all, Christopher Columbus traveled to the Americas on behalf of the nation, and scholars are aware that the illustrious explorer arrived in the Bahamas in October 1492, sometime after he departed Andalusia. He traveled to Cuba and the Central American coastline a few years later. Columbus, however, only unintentionally discovered South and Central America. The ship's navigator initially headed for India, UK, but he discovered an island identified as San Salvador in the Caribbean instead. This error ultimately enabled European explorers to discover the land of the new, and the nation of Spain quickly established itself as the region's dominant authority. Spain occupied a sizable portion of the Americas during the following 100 years. The European nation expanded its dominion from Argentina and Chile to the southwest of the modern-day United States after conquering, among other places, Peru and Mexico. Constructing this empire also resulted in the theft of indigenous resources and almost eradication of numerous indigenous populations. The Spanish built an empire and supported and finished the first iteration of the world sailing trip. 5 ships under Ferdinand Magellan's leadership departed Seville in 1519 to go on this expedition, but over a decade later, just one of these ships returned to Spain. Magellan and most of the crew, comprising the other 4 people, have yet to return. Additionally, throughout the Spanish conquest of the seas and the Americas, any loot obtained from precious metals, Unusual delicacies, or rare gemstones, would be later conveyed to Europe. The San Jose just so happened to be among the ships that would carry this priceless cargo. She was built in 1698 and commanded 17 bounty ships, which rose to prominence at the beginning of the 18th century. When Spanish King Charles I passed away without a child, he left the throne in France to Philip, Duke of Anjou, Louis XIV's grandchild. A struggle that would involve most of the inhabited world was sparked by other European empires' unease with a combined French and Spanish dominance. The War of the Spanish Succession was the name given to the relevant conflict. The San Jose served her duty of transporting taxes and valuables from the New Globe alongside this backdrop as Britain entered the skirmish, battling over Spain in its American colonies. However, assaults against the Navy weren't uncommon then, and perhaps on a single occasion, they were highly successful. Though the San Jose's passengers and cargo were left to rot on the ocean below for decades, no one has ever forgot about them. In truth, efforts to locate the wreck, commonly known as the Holy Grail of archaeology, and the valuables she holds amongst wealth hunters, have persisted for many years, and in 1981 a party of salvagers thought they had found the San Jose's exact position. However, as the accident occurred in Colombia's territory's waters, the recovery business, Explore Armada, was never allowed to descend and explore for the sunken loot, because the government of Colombia effectively outlawed accessibility to San Jose and her priceless cargo after the organization's plea for authorization to reclaim her was turned down. This judgment sparked years of disagreements about ownership of the wreck. Between 1989 and 2015, Armada filed 3 separate lawsuits against the Colombian government. But ultimately, the spot was declared government-owned, and San Jose's purported location was strictly guarded. A group of experts went in search of San Jose and her valuables again in 2015, but this time Colombians accompanied them. That year, the Ark Malpelo investigation vessel took scientists to the Caribbean. That was all from our side. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more exciting content.